Sad Joe's what people really want. They don't really care about the cartoon commissar.
No,
I haven't actually done anything with the emotes for ages.
We need to update them with the cartoon.
We need to do a massive update on them, to be fair. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to the Liam and Joe Show. Thank you so much for choosing to not work and instead spend your afternoon with us here in the studio in the Great Hall.
Yeah.
You amazing, wonderful people. If you haven't already and you've just been sat there, hit the special buttons. Hit the like button if you enjoy the content. Smash subscribe if you haven't already. Yesterday, YouTube showed me that exactly 30% of people watching our content aren't subscribed. Exactly 30%.
That's less than a third, though.
Yeah, but I mean, there's a good thing and a bad thing there. The bad thing is there is still people that are watching that aren't subscribers. The good thing, hang on, there's no good things. It's all bad.
Surely you don't want everyone watching you to be a subscriber.
Yeah.
Because it means that you're not finding anyone new.
So on the plus side, it tells me that there's more people that could be subscribers, right? On the downside, I'd like to have like 70% that are unsubscribed.
I would argue that a third is the perfect amount.
You reckon?
Yeah.
I want more reach. I want to go more.
Because we're growing as a channel and people, right? In thickness.
Thickness, 3K.
Still putting on that winter weight. But the people watching us, our subs are going up.
Slowly.
Slowly, but the third is getting marginally smaller, but the 2/3 is getting bigger. So you always want that third to be this. Once you get to like if out of 100,000 people that watch, 30,000 of those aren't subs, and it still means you've got 70,000 subs.
I don't have 30,000 people watching, Jay. I have 30,000 subs, and even they don't watch all the shows because all my shows don't get to 30,000 views.
Shame. Shame on
Anyway, thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. You people are incredible. And today's topic, I did go into the Thanes and I asked for some topics. And to be clear, the Thanes chucked out some amazing topics. But I was kind of sat here this morning and I was like, I was editing the podcast, which is now finished with James from Siege. And I'm actually going to speak to him later. I promised to launch it a week on Monday. So I've sent it to his media manager. So his media manager can chop up like shorts and stuff. What I might say is, how do you fancy me actually launching it to you members on Monday and getting it out slightly earlier? Because I'm excited for it. But I remember a conversation that I had with James off of camera. We were talking about Amazon. I spoke about this a little bit last night. And potentially 40k being on this precipice of becoming borderline mainstream and being a bit huge. And Joe and I have talked a little bit in the past about 40k becoming a bit more mainstream, etc. And I thought about the internet. And I thought about YouTube and Reddit and places like that around Warhammer 40k. I did a little bit of searching around. And I'm not going to name channels. I'm not going to name subreddits. I'm not going to name Facebook pages. But I did a bit of rooting around. I spent half an hour this morning, I reckon.
Solid research time.
It wasn't a long, because I think you could probably tumble down a really dark rabbit hole. And do you know what I came to realise is predominantly, on the internet space at least, Games Workshop are the worst, 40k's fucking shit, the game's terrible, everybody hates it, right? That's the internet right now.
Yeah.
It just is. That's the internet right now for Warhammer 40k.
Yeah.
And I've kind of not helped that necessarily, because I've said a few times lately, actually, it's not my favourite version of the game, it's my least favourite version in the last 4 editions. But then what I always typically follow it up with, because I don't like being a negative channel on the whole, is I do typically follow it up with, however, in the new studio space, with people like you and with Dom and what have you, I'm having the most fun I've ever had before. And I stopped and I thought, hang on a minute, am I at this point just sounding like a complete mentalist? This is my least favourite version of the game, but I'm having the most fun. That kind of doesn't actually make sense, does it, if you think about it? Because surely if you're having the most fun, logically, it could and should perhaps be your most favourite version. Now, I mean, there's obviously arguments to be had there. There is arguments to be had there where you can go, well, you could not like the rule set, you could prefer a different rule set, but because you found the right people, you found factions that you like, you're playing in the right kind of group of people, you can have more fun, even if the edition's worse. But then at the same time, we had Adam in from Beachhead, end of last month, beginning of this month, we had Adam in from Beachhead. Last year, 9th edition, Beachhead struggled to sell 100 tickets to its event, right, as the 40k tournament. This year, sold 160 tickets, which is the max number, and had a waiting list.
Yeah.
So if you look at the internet, if you look at Reddit, if you look at YouTube, if you look at the internet space in general, Games Workshop are evil, Warhammer 40k sucks. If you look at player numbers, that's just not true.
Wait.
And I was thinking about why. Sorry, I was thinking about why content's doing badly on YouTube right now. And I think it's because people are a little bit sick and fed up of people just shitting on their hobby. So why watch it? Why watch something that's going to make me feel shit about the thing that I like? And people are stepping away from watching content.
All right, I'll give you a different analogy.
Okay.
Right. It's two different analogies really. I said earlier about Call of Duty. I love using the BP50, the F2000. It's my favourite gun to use. The RAM is better.
Okay.
It's the best gun, but I prefer the other one, kind of thing. So this kind of thing is like something can be better, but you can enjoy using something else.
Yeah.
Like for instance, like my some of my favourite games I like playing Call of Duty and like Bioshock or Call of Duty, Borderlands, Bioshock, Resident Evil are my favourite stuff. I love playing them. And my partner likes watching me play games, but I like Call of Duty, but she hates watching it because it's not watchable. It's not a watchable thing for her. She likes watching me play Resident Evil because it's suspense. There's something going on, you know. It's scary and there's like things to discover and puzzles to do. I think the thing with with Warhammer at the moment, not our channel, but other channels, or the rest of them, no. That I think the problem with 10th edition at the moment, much like my opinion on football, great to play, boring to watch. So the experience of playing the game is fun because you're playing with the models, you're doing things like we showed the other day. You can take a mission from the deck, create a narrative mission, have a narrative table set up, and have fun playing it. But it might not, the edition as it is, in the competitive style, might just be really bland.
But the thing is, I think the problem, so I don't necessarily disagree with you as a general rule of thumb. The big struggle I'm having at the moment is we're trying very much to do something different.
Yeah.
And it is possible that people aren't clicking on our content who may have watched content 2 editions ago because they're going, it'll be the same as everybody else's. And I really want to I'm trying to get that message out there. It's not the same as everybody else's. We're here to dick around, have fun and enjoy ourselves. And we're slowly getting out there. You are right. The subs are growing. The channel is growing. It is slow, but it's growing. It's going in the right direction. But because of the general feel, I feel, that exists across the internet space in general, a lot of people who are positive about the hobby are either being turned off because they're viewers, they're being turned off, oh, it's negative, it's shit. I've heard a lot of people that have gone, yeah, but 10th, I was looking online, 10th is in a really bad place, isn't it? I'm like, well, the player numbers don't say that, actually. 10th is in a really good place. But they're like, I said, why do you think it's in a bad place? Well, because YouTube and Reddit, and they all say it's shit.
Yeah.
But is it? Is it actually shit?
It's much like the news, right? Like BBC News, The Sun, Sky News, Lad Bible to an extent. They don't really go, today, puppies were born, right? Puppies get born every day. Today, a non-ugly baby was born. Way! It did look like a 70-year-old man. No, like that's like those kind. Promoting good news doesn't sell because it's boring, right? Because apparently people just want to be fed miserable news, like explosions in places or people going missing, you know, or just like the only news that gets put out is in general terrible.
So I sort of also kind of covered some of this sort of topic last Friday on the After Dark show. Towards the end of the show, just about to wrap up, I went off on a little bit of a rant. I know you're all shocked and surprised, and I said, you know, social media in general. That particular part of that show was about social media and how I said social media is a lie. It's not true life. What people show you on social media is not true life. The finished model you see doesn't show you all the failures, the issues, the mistakes, the problems, right? The lifestyle that you see people living, it probably actually isn't that lifestyle. That Lamborghini probably doesn't belong to that person. There's loads of things like social media is a lie. And if you actually really think about, like you say, the wider kind of news world, actually to some degree, although it's the truth, it doesn't actually give you the whole truth.
No, and
I think that's the same with the internet around 40k right now. So I think my personal opinion is that the negativity that exists online around this hobby is doing more harm than good to people that want to watch, engage with those communities. And a lot of those people, although they may have stepped away from content, the game and the hobby itself, like I said, play numbers are up. The game's actually, I'm going to say, like, this is weird for me to say this with someone who has so many complaints about things that exist in 10th compared to 9th or 8th or whatever.
Yeah.
The game's in a good place.
Yeah.
There was a meta watch, so I scheduled the stream an hour and a half ago. Since I scheduled it, there was a meta watch article that comes up. Eldar and Chaos Space Marines that have been dominating are now trending down. Drakari that are bottom of the pile have won a few events.
Yeah.
And there's a list in this article, there's a list of factions over the course of the last 2 weeks that have won events. It's a pretty comprehensive list. There's a lot of factions that have won an event. That means that the game, the hobby in general, even if it might not be the most exciting way you've ever played the hobby because you prefer armor facings or blast templates or different ways of building lists or individual points costs, but in that regard at least, that's a good place for the game to be.
Yeah. Like we had the discussion a few Liam and Joe shows a while ago about how being part of the old guard is also a negative in a sense to new things because we're like, we don't like change. Old man yells at son, kind of thing.
Yeah.
You're drinking out of my cup. How dare you?
You put it in front of me.
I don't know. That's mine now. I'm the king tiger. Wow. Pour some of yours into mine. You drank some. No, it's fine. No, I'm joking. It's kind of like, so that we're kind of like in a position now where much like Call of Duties, the new thing's great, the trailers look amazing, the next Call of Duty is going to be the best one ever. 6 months later, this is terrible, I hate it, the old one was better, kind of thing. So it's like when we said coming in 10th edition, the unit changes, characters being in units, leading squads again is great, and the leadership mechanic's better, and the magic phase is gone because it's less complicated, and we're now kind of at a stage, I miss the magic phase. Like, characters being in units is annoying now because now I've got 12 captains on the table to make my Space Marine army function. I think it's kind of thing, accepting the change.
Yeah,
and that's where I think a lot of complaints come from.
No, I agree.
Because things that were good before aren't as good now and don't make sense from a narrative standpoint. They make sense from a competitive standpoint.
But not being good is arguably quite subjective on the whole.
Yeah.
So I personally think, I miss having a psychic phase, but I don't necessarily think it was better having one.
Yeah.
Now, it potentially made your Thousand Sons or your Eldar feel more thematic because you had a psychic phase. But if I think about new people coming into the game, if I think about accessibility, actually losing the psychic phase and giving those people abilities and more powerful psychic weapons that are shooting attacks, I mean, it kind of works. It kind of makes sense to me, a lot of that stuff, right? I have some minor gripes that I miss, whereby you have a Farseer on foot, he has this power, you don't have any other power. I wish that they'd have gone, we're going to get rid of all the crap powers, we're going to keep Guide, Doom and Fortune. If you take a Farseer, you pick one of those powers. I don't think they need to go, actually, a foot Farseer only has Fortune, and a bike Farseer only has Guide, and Eldrad only has Doom. Right? I would have liked it to, I feel like the refinement's okay, I would like a little bit more options. But the character leading units thing is something that I was genuinely very excited about because I got bored of auras and the weird way that these castles would move around. But the implementation of what I thought they were trying to do didn't match up to what I thought they were going to try and do. And there's very simple things I'd change. Very simple things I'd change. I would get rid of the sentence or the start of the sentence while leading a unit.
Yeah.
Get rid of that. Just remove those 3 words. Because actually, Joe, if you think about it as well, removing those 3 units simplifies it further.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't matter if he's in a unit or not, he always has that rule. Like, that makes it even more simple. And then characters become less of just a squad upgrade then. Because what you're saying is all these abilities that they have, Psychic Hood, Librarian, the Psychic Hood Librarian one is the one that really, really gets to me because he's a Librarian all the time and he always wears his Psychic Hood. When his unit dies, he doesn't take it off, right? It's always there. So the Psychic Hood, if you are unaware, says, while this model is leading a unit, models in the unit gain a Feel No Pain, I think it's a 5+, against wounds caused by psychic attacks, right? Okay, narratively cool, I like it, it's fine. But while this model's leading a unit, you take a Librarian in Terminator armor and you don't have a unit with him, or you kill the unit around him, suddenly it's like it could stop working for whatever reason. I don't know. And I think that if you remove those words, it's not to the detriment of the game because it's simpler.
Yeah.
Because I've had conversations with people like, oh, you don't get that anymore because the unit's dead. And they're like, what?
How would you feel about changing the scaling of characters in the sense? I don't know. So we complain about the fact that for Space Marines to realistically function, even Chaos Space Marines to an extent as well, you have to take 3 to 6 captains, right? What if we rename them? You take sergeants out of squads. So the scaling of a captain is now a sergeant.
I'm into it.
Right? And then captains are essentially on par currently to what a chapter master is, or even a Primarch. Because a first captain of a chapter, right, a chapter master is incredibly rare, right? So that would be as rare as putting the lion in to your army. So then you go, well, I've got 6 squads, 4 of them are going to have sergeants, the other ones aren't. I'm going to have 2 lieutenants, because that makes sense, because like in a combat force of this size, the highest rank that you will probably get would be a lieutenant or a chaplain or an apothecary leading a force. And then, the chapter master's here today, I get 1 kind of thing. And then the lion is on par of what having knights used to be back in the day.
Yeah,
where you'd be not ask permission, but once your game goes over 2,000 points, that's when you bring in Abaddon,
I think that's not a bad shout,
Yeah.
to be honest with you. Dunkelzan says, this is an interesting point actually, about 10th edition right now. The reduction in complexity has just made a lot of the armies feel very bland and samey to me. Do you think that is a reduction in complexity issue? Because I've heard a lot of people say that. This is not the first time I've heard that comment, right? Do you think that's a reduction in complexity issue, or do you think that's an indexed armies issue?
I think it's an indexed armies issue. Because when you look at the detachment, different things work separately. So you look at Necrons, for instance. Some Necron armies, there's no point taking a Necron Lord. You might have 1 Necron Lord. You might have the Storm Lord in the army, but Cryptex are more prevalent. But then they've got 4 different versions of Cryptex. I've got this kind of Cryptek, I've got this kind of Cryptek, I've got this kind of Cryptek.
Okay.
And then every Necron army has 1 unit of Wraiths, a Cryptek in it for the feel no pain, and then they run around the table being annoying. But with Space Marines, much like streamers is a problem. We've kind of got to a situation where we've data mined the indexes and codexes to a specific level where we all know what is the best. What is the best version of this thing to run?
Do you think content on YouTube and stuff is part of that problem as well, though?
Yeah. Well, we try and change it up now. Why is it? Because I like it, kind of thing. But a lot of times that you watch streamed battle reports or watch on demand, they go, "Here's my Space Marine army, and I'm doing the Dreadnought detachment, and then these are the best things to take." Always take those.
But again, I think this is actually perfectly by accident feeding into the title of the stream.
Yeah.
Okay. So often on stream, I find a lot of channels. We're trying not to do this right now, but I find a lot of channels going, "I'm taking this detachment because it's the best one in the book."
Yeah.
Right. And so to that point, a lot of people go, "Well, that's all you ever see is what's the Necron one that's a problem right now."
The
Hypercrypt,
yeah.
Right.
Just rewrite everything all the time.
So go on YouTube. The majority of channels that are running Necrons now are probably running Hypercrypt, right? And so for people that are watching content as their primary form of engagement with a hobby or their primary source of entertainment, Necrons are just Hypercrypt.
Yeah.
So we're like trying to run different detachments and trying to run. I got criticised on YouTube with the Dark Angels Codex when I ran the Ravenwing detachment because I didn't have enough Ravenwing units. I was like, yeah, but I didn't want to run the same detachment twice.
Yeah.
So we literally got some Ravenwing units painted up and we bought as many as we could to try and showcase the detachment. It just so happens that Brom had no chill that night and murdered all the Ravenwing in the first turn, so I couldn't show any of the stuff off that they could do.
Sat in the other room, but I could see your mood just go, wow.
There's an unwritten rule about content chat around showcasing new things. Give the other person a turn or two to showcase the new things before you decide to murder fuck it.
Chill.
Brom has got spoiled of being the bullied boy.
I know. But also,
So I tried to bring Ravenwing, and I was told you didn't do a good job showcasing Ravenwing. I was like, no, all right, fair enough. But then what I've often found in other channels is there's 20 battle reports out around Tyranids. They're all running the same detachment.
Yeah.
I'm like, and that creates that feeling that Dunkelzon was just talking about. Yeah. Like, there's no flavour. Everyone's just running copy and paste lists. But again, I think that's the internet lying to you, because when you go to events, if you're going to super competitive events, you're playing on the top tables, guess what? People are probably running the best detachments. But you find that lower mid-table and that bottom table level, where people are just there to have a good time,
I'd say,
and they'll run the narrative detachments as per their Imperial Fists or whatever they're running.
Yeah, if you split it into 4, instead of top, mid, bottom, instead of going like, you go top, mid, bottom, bottom, right? Bottom, mid, to bottom, they're some of the best armies. Honest to God. I got absolutely ruined by a Shadow Sword and 2 Rogal Dawns.
Which, by the way, I love that concept of an army.
Yeah, it's great. I was like, props to you. You're gonna win this. I can't kill these things. But I was like, but good on you for bringing something that doesn't really function, but has fun. Like seeing weird and wacky armies, you often see some of the, dare I say it, the better painted armies in the bottom half.
Yeah, I think
so. Because to be competitive, you don't like to be, if you want to be the best, but you're chasing the meta, you're probably not putting as much time. There are exceptions to this rule, right? But to be competitive and chase that meta and swapping out armies all the time, you drop the quality to go for the quantity. Don't you really?
Yeah.
Whereas at the bottom, there's a lot of people like, I only have this one Space Wars army, and I really fucking love Space Wars. And I spend hours painting just one Space Marine, and it took me 1,000,000 hours to paint this 2,000 point army, and it's glorious. But the problem is, I designed it in 6th edition. I've only just finished painting it now. You know.
When you went to Beachhead, you took Flesh Terrors.
Yeah.
What detachment did you run?
Blood Angels detachment.
Why?
Because I'm running Flesh Terrors.
But is there other detachments in the Space Marine book that might be
so if I took the exact same army, right, and ran it in the Flamestorm detachment, infinitely better.
You reckon?
Yeah. Because my Land Raiders get dev wounds then. I can jump in and out of transports. I get access to better +1s to wound. I have it instantly becomes better by being in that detachment. But I was like, Flesh Terrors. I made sure, apart from the sergeants who had Thunderhammers or a Power Fist and the characters, everyone had a chainsword. There was the only weapons in the army were chainswords.
But Brian says, I really do wish people would just play whatever they think is neat rather than what's optimal and best. But this is what I'm trying to say, Brian, right? Not trying to pick on you for your comments specifically, but this is what I'm trying to get across to people in chat today. This is what I'm trying to get across to people in chat in general over the last week or two with the channel and the content and what I'm trying to do at the moment. I don't think people just run what's optimal and best. I think the internet has led us to believe that's what people do.
Yeah.
I know a bunch of people that play this hobby. Thankfully, because of the channel specifically, we're connected to tons of people.
Yeah.
And I would suggest that the majority of people that I speak to, at least, don't just go, that's the best attachment, I'm running that one. They go, this one fits my chapter better. This one fits my Hive Fleet better. Yeah. This one, I'm picking this one because of this narrative thing. Yeah. I'm picking this one because I think it's more fun.
Well, it's like, I was looking at Mike Costello's list, right? Because I was at the TOs and his army was literally on the end of the table and I was looking at it. And he was running Salamanders. And he had Vulcan Heston and he had Adrax Agatone, right?
Mike, by the way, is a lovely guy.
And his army was great. It looked great. And he had a Land Raider Redeemer. He had a massive 10-man squad of Pyroclasts. He had a 5-man, not Pyroclasts, they're Infernus Marines, but in Salamanders they're called Pyroclasts. He had a 5-man unit of Infernus Marines. He had a big 5-man squad of Terminators. He had Blade Gut. I looked at it, I was like, well, that's the Salamanders army.
Yeah, it's cool.
Right? And what happened, when you look at the new detachments, and you do lean into the chapter that they're quite obviously designed for, the narrative builds itself for a start, but also they play into
Well,
because that whole army becomes way stronger.
So this is the thing when we talk about
we got super chats to catch up.
We will, but this is the thing when we talk about. So by the way, if you want to gift memberships, become a member or super chat, I promise you, Joe's got the iPad. We will get to it. It's a way to guarantee that we'll talk about whatever it is you want us to talk about. But when people say, you know, codexes are out, 6 or 7 detachments has become bland because everyone's running the same thing. There is a part of me that thinks that is equally on the players as it is on as it is on GW. So yeah, arguably GW should make sure or do the best that they can to try and make sure that all 6 attachments are a form of balance. Yeah. But actually, if I stop and think about it, and I'm a bit more fair to Games Workshop, and it's not often we're fair to Games Workshop, right? We try and be honest at least, but not often do I think they get it right. Can they release 7 detachments for a book that's got 90 data sheets and make sure all detachments are created equally? Almost definitely not. What I do think they've done quite well, in my personal opinion, I'd be interested to know what you think, and I'm looking at the Necron book, and I'm looking at the Tyranid book, and I'm looking at the Space Marine book, even to some extent the Dark Ages book, I do think they're doing a relatively good job of at least making the detachment fit a specific narrative without making it a specific narrative. So the Flamestorm detachment, in the old book, it would have been, this is for Salamanders. If your army's not painted green, you can't use it. Yeah. Now, if you're a Salamanders player, you can use that detachment, and it's designed for Salamanders, and it's narratively looks like it's designed for Salamanders, but guess what? You don't have to, you can use it. So I like the fact they're giving people the option. Yeah. People are now complaining that they've got the option, when they used to complain that they were only linked, and sometimes I think Games Workshop can't win. Again, I think this is part of the internet's problem. But I think that when you look at the specific detachments that exist, they've done a pretty good job on the whole of going, a Vanguard Hive Fleet detachment fits the models that should exist in the Vanguard Hive Fleet detachment.
Well, what you'll find is that with the detachments, anyone can run them, but if you build the narrative of that detachment into it, you're rewarded. So the Salamanders detachment, if you take Volkistan and you put him in a unit, that unit rerolls wounds on flamers. Yeah. Right? And then what's the stratagem for the flamer stratagem? You get dev wounds on 6s. So you go, cool, I've got a flame unit that rerolls wounds, and I do dev wounds on 6s.
Yeah.
You know? And like...
But what I'm saying is, if a player then builds an army that's painted Space Marines, and he runs the Flamestorm detachment, one, if that's how his Ultramarines narrative works, then great. Yeah. Two, if he's picking that detachment because it's literally the best... I mean, that's not GW's fault.
No.
That's kind of on the player a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
It's one of those, like, everyone has the opportunity to run the best version of everything all the time. But a lot of people just choose not to because that's just not how they like to do it. But at the same time, does that mean that we have the right to complain? I don't like playing like that, so therefore I'm angry because I'm not rewarded for being...
But again, if we go back to that, the internet's lying to you question, there's channels out there, they're great people. Like for example, a channel that I watch a fair amount is the guys from Art of War, right? Yeah. And they're lovely people. Yeah. I've spoken to a couple of them, really nice people, Art of War, and they are all about competitive 40k, right? They've won numerous ITCs, they've won all the major events across America. They're just dialed in. If you watch Art of War, then the internet will tell you this is the detachment to take. This is the units to put in that detachment. At that point, they don't give a flying fuck what colour you're painting your Space Marines. They don't care. They don't give a shit because that's not what they're about. But you watch that kind of content, you could be believed there's no point taking any other detachment, that's the only one that works. Yeah. Because that's kind of that's not what they've said. Yeah. That isn't what they've said. They don't say that, but they've said this is the best one. Yeah, well, and they'll do things like, they'll do like rank videos, right? They'll do S tier, A tier, B tier, C tier, and they'll go, these factions are in S, or these detachments are in S, or these units are in S, these are in A, these are in B, these are in C. And you could look at that and you can go, no point looking at B and C, pointless, might as well just take S and A. Yeah. But that's the internet saying this is all that's worth taking. But that's not what they're saying. They're just saying this is better than that. Yeah. But as a player, you can still go, I saw someone, I can't remember the comment, but I saw someone say, this is why I refuse to remove Reavers from my army. Good on you. Coolest looking Space Marines in the model range.
Rumble says, I played one single game of Meta's Chaos Space Marines as pre-Desley and hated it. Rule of Cool narrative is way more fun. Yes. Like, Obliterators are really good. They're a bit more pricey now, but they're really, really strong. I hate the models. I hate them. But the reason I hate them is because there's only 2 sculpts.
Right, yeah. So I like the models, but I don't like how many... I hate repeat script. I did a lot of stuff like this on Twitch over the weekend, building World Eaters. And the thing is with World Eaters, they're fixed poses, the torsos, and then they'll give you the arms to use. And I talked people through how I make the decisions to put what weapons on what to try and make sure that I'm making 30 berserkers for my army, how I make sure that every single Marine is at least slightly different. I don't end up in a situation where I've got the same set of weapons on the same torso, on the same base with the same head. Yeah. I work very hard to avoid that.
But yeah, I do in my Chaos Space Marines where I inject a lot of like different marks of shoulder pads. It's easier with Chaos Space Marines than it is with other people. Instead of just using the shoulder pads that come in the box, I use Heresy Mark 3, 4, 5, like because obviously they had them, and they might still use them. And then I use Space Marine shoulder pads and stuff. And then I'll use the Chaos Space Marine backpacks, but I also use the 3 different marks of backpack from Heresy on them. So it really just kind of mixes things up a bit. Right.
Unrated Content just quickly says Art of War also repeatedly tries to reinforce B tier is not bad. It's hard to remember that compared to S. I know they do, and I'm trying to make that point as well.
I would say that B tier a lot of the time encompasses the higher skill level armies.
Yeah,
because they put the bottom tier as Drakari. But the Drakari were terrible. But I know Drakari players that were still doing well.
But the thing is with B tier, people, if you've got 3 units in S tier, 8 units in A tier, and then B and C tier. That does mean you can build an army with that S and A tier, and people won't touch B tier.
Yeah.
But then this is a problem where people are trying to build meta, what's good, chase meta, blah, rather than I like Reavers. I know they're bad. I'm keeping them in my list because I like Reavers. You know, that's part of the issue, I think.
Yeah.
When I run Eldar, I almost always run a Searman and 10 Dire Avengers. Are they good? I think they're shit. You don't see them in competitive Eldar. But since I listened to Jane Czar as an audiobook, I love Assuman, and I put him in every list because I think he's cool.
But it's like I ran Harlequins Tuesday.
2 days ago, Jeff.
2 days ago. Did I win? No. But I really enjoyed playing with it, and I will probably do it again.
You didn't. I mean, you could have told your face that during the game.
It was difficult to take it for the first time, but now I know it's coming. I know to dress appropriately.
It's
you know.
It's like the world tells me that Berserkers are terrible. I keep bringing them.
I think Berserkers are good and they're fun.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
What define terrible?
Yeah.
Define good. Define bad. Good for me is something that I enjoy using and I have fun with. Good for other people, particularly, and the internet again tells you this, a unit that can equally wipe out its points.
I took to Beachhead 40 intercessors, so 20 on foot, 20 with jump packs, 2 land raiders and 2 scout squads, right? Not a competitive army. People were like, where's your Sanguinary Guard? Where's your Death Company? It's like, this is have fun. I just push models at people and see what happens. And it's the most fun I've ever had in an event.
I saw you at Beachhead, liked your t-shirt, was playing Blood Bowl, and now I feel like a stalker as I didn't say hi.
That's fine. You could.
He did follow you around though, Joe, and sniffed your hair.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Well, you should have come and said. I'm more than happy for people to come and say hi. What I find weird, right? Obviously you didn't come and say hi. Is when people come and say hi to me, and they're like, "Oh, big fan of the channel," and you're like, "Cool," and you ask them some questions about there, and they walk away. I'm like, "Not forgot their name."
But doesn't it feel weird asking?
Yeah, because they go, "Hi, Joe," and then I'm like, obviously I don't know who you are, but hello, I will have a conversation with you. But I was like, now I'm like, but what's your name?
I want to try and get to more things. I actually have come to realise that I don't give a fuck about competing at events, but I want to go to more big things like conventions and stuff to meet people more importantly than actually playing events. I don't want to play in events. And the other thing is I also find if you play in events, there's that weird part where they don't want to come and say hello because you're playing and it's like table courtesy. If you come up to either of us and say hello, or anyone on the channel for that matter, all you do is like, hi, I'm Warmaster Will on YouTube and my name is Will. I mean, that's pretty obvious, that one. But for example, right, that's what I really want people to do.
Yeah,
I'm such and such on YouTube. My actual name is this, because I don't like using YouTube names. When I used to work with Winters, he would just use Discord names and YouTube names, and I hated it. I'm like, this is such and such. Sorry, what's your actual name? I want your actual name. Yeah. I like actual names.
You are human beings after all.
You are, well, most of you.
Yeah.
Most of you. Talking about the incredible human beings, though, Joe is patiently waiting to read through some chats and stuff and things. We had one before the stream even started from Mr. the Lehman Russ.
Says, from a competitive standpoint, I think the game is no longer dying as I'm seeing more GT and RTT than before, and all these events are at max capacity. Fact.
So Alex from Factorum, at the weekend he's got an RTT and a doubles event, both pretty much fully sold out.
Yeah.
I think there's more players than there has been in a long time.
Yeah.
That's a positive. But people aren't, this is the thing that fucks me off, right? People aren't reporting on that.
No, because it's good news.
So okay, Games Workshop's out of stock all the time, right?
Yeah.
And again, I have taken a bit of a step back and looked at myself and looked at the channel and the content that I'm making, and to some extent, the changes that I'm making to a point are to our detriment.
Yeah.
We are just getting less viewers, and it's because I'm being positive. But I look at things and I'm like, I think being negative all the time has a shelf life.
Yeah.
And I think being positive all the time has a shelf life. So we try and be honest. But Games Workshop being out of stock is a big one that people have talked about. It's been all over the internet. It's been on forums, it's been on chat. Games Workshop stock is shit. Games Workshop's warehouse is always out of stock. It's one way of looking at it.
Yeah.
They upgraded to a brand new warehouse. I had GW in here last Thursday for a meeting. It's a fucking big warehouse. And they've upgraded to a brand new automated system akin to what Amazon use.
Yeah.
So they've got a better system than they had before, but they've got worse stock. Is it because everything's shit and Games Workshop are incompetent? Or is it that they're selling more than they ever have before?
Yeah, they can't produce as much as they're selling.
So it could be argued that in the hobby world at least, it's a positive. Because it's showing that they're just selling more and more and more and more.
It's like, the thing is that it wasn't just the 40k event at Beachhead that was sold out. It was like the 40k, AOS, Bolt Action, Titanicus, Kill Team, Blood, like every single event apart from Magic the Gathering, which is weird because it was sold out, and there was waiting lists, and everyone was having so much fun, just being there, having a look around, chatting and stuff. I walked around the Bolt Action section. I really wish I was playing Bolt Action because the tables looked incredible and stuff. And I was like Beachhead really encompassed all the great things about why we do this hobby.
Yeah,
but,
I agree.
And but what's weird is because everyone had a great time and loads of people had and it was a great experience. I haven't heard anything about Beachhead since it happened.
Yeah.
Social media wise, because people were like, "Oh, what happened at Beachhead? Oh, everyone had a great time." Oh.
Yeah, no drama.
Yeah.
The only thing you'll see is people that fish for drama.
Yeah.
To detract from.
And I think that's the problem. Is like when LVO, like London, what's it called? LGT. You only hear about events after they've happened because something bad happened. You never go, "Oh, this guy won, and we're already happy for him."
Isn't that genuinely though a current sad state of the human race? Like I like this. I don't want to be I don't want to turn into some profound fucking preachy knobhead.
Yeah.
But isn't that just a genuine tragic state of the human race right now?
Yeah.
Good news. Don't worry about posting it. No one gives a fuck.
Yeah.
Horrific news. Put it everywhere because it will sell.
Yeah.
Isn't that sad?
Like Fun Fair's in town. Was it good? Oh, it's fun. You should go. And they'd be like, "Yeah, cool."
Yeah.
That'd be it. But
Fun Fair, the Ferris wheel killed a man.
Yeah. 100 people died. There was a fire everywhere. But I'm going tomorrow.
But don't you just think that is a genuine tragic about human nature at the moment? And it is. And I just talked about that warehousing, and Cornet Ed said, why not both? And granted, it could be both, Cornet Ed. It absolutely could be. They're not doing a great job, but also the hobby's more popular. It could be both. The problem that I have is, the whole point in the stream in general is, the internet would lead you to believe it's just their incompetence. They won't even, they don't even want to put out the kind of argument that it could be that the hobby's just selling loads more than it ever has before. And GW have, and I've spoke to them, I kind of know what's going on. It's not that GW have exponentially expanded their premises and still gone, fuck, it's still not big enough.
Do you think it's due to the fact, right, and I thought about this when I was in the toilet earlier.
That's when you know it's quality content.
Right, do you think that it's because life is really expensive and no one can go on holiday? Stuff like that. Like, I can't go on holiday, I work all the time. This is not me, this is just a generalization. You work all the time, can't go on holiday, you're stuck at home, you don't have much spare time for yourself. So you're like, well, you can buy an army, I'll put 300-400 quid into an army over the next 3-4 months, and then I'll go to a tournament once a month. Do you think more people are doing it because it's more accessible than actually going to Chessington for a day?
I think it could have something to do with it. I also think that I think I know the answer to this, but I'm going to ask anyway. And I think I know the answer to this for definitely for Kyle, probably for Brom as well. What's your favourite part about Warhammer 40k? About the whole thing. What's your favourite part?
I like painting.
No. Okay.
I like painting.
That wasn't the answer that I thought.
Oh no, the friendship.
No. That's not
Playing the game.
No. You're just not doing well here, chat. What's the thing? What do you do when you drive here?
Cry.
What do you do when you drive here?
I listen to audiobooks.
What do you do when you drive home?
I listen to audiobooks.
What do you do when you drive fucking anywhere?
I listen to audiobooks.
What do you do when you sat at home painting?
Until recently, listen to audiobooks.
So it could be argued that your favourite. What's the thing you talk about all the time? Well, your favourite things about the hobby is the
law.
The narrative, right? Why do people love the law or the narrative so much? Because it's escapism.
Yeah.
So I think that there's a combination of it's more accessible than things like holidays, and it's escapism at the same time.
Yeah.
So people dive into these little holes, and this is why I think the internet itself is causing the decline of things like content. I spoke to Kiroth recently, he says his content's dying. Pardo says his 40k content's dying. A lot of people are feeling this, right? They're feeling that the content's dying. So if you can't afford holidays, etc., Joe, and you say what you do is you do treat yourself to a box of models, and you sit there and you're like, my barriers are up, I'm in my zone, I don't care about what's going on in the world, I don't care about all the death, destruction, genocide that's like at this very point in time, I'm escaping in my own little sci-fi world. And I put a stream on or I put a video on and they're just talking negative the whole time. That ruins your escapism. So I'm not gonna watch it. I'm not gonna listen to it. And that's why I'm trying to make a change. So when people are hobbying, they can sit there, they can smile, they can laugh, they can giggle, they can enjoy themselves rather than 40k shit, Games Workshop are the devil, they're the worst company in the world. Like that's part of the problem of the internet.
It's like obviously my job is building and painting models and also playing the game. But like I was saying to my missus the other day, I play a lot of computer games. But I was like, if I didn't have this hobby, I'd go mental if the only thing I could do was play computer games. Because what will happen, like yesterday, I'd had enough of Call of Duty after our stream.
I was.
Carl was like, do you want to play Call of Duty? I was like, no. I literally sat from 7 o'clock until midnight painting a model. It was bliss. I had Vox Machina on. I just had that and I just painted and chilled. It was lovely.
Yeah, it's your escapism, exactly. Yeah. And we've just talked about how the internet, the real world, and the news is all about negativity. It's all about bad news. There's a guy who said, sorry, I've missed your name. He said he learnt in his media course, dog bites, man doesn't sell. Man bites, dog does. Because, and it's a tragic truth, unfortunately. The world is now quite heavy. It's quite negative. It's quite, everything's bad, climate change, poverty, recession. Like, there's all these things going on all the time. Luce said to me the other day, she's like, doesn't the world just feel heavy? And it does, it absolutely does. So one of the reasons why this hobby has the potential, I think, to be so incredibly successful going forward is because it offers you a degree of escapism. And I think that good content out there is something that accompanies the escapism.
Yeah.
And if you're hating on GW and fucking Games Workshop bash, Valrak, right? Say what you want about the man. Call him a leaky shithole all you want, right? Call him Chapter Master Ballsack all you want. Sam's content does incredibly well. Do you know why? Because he just fucking loves Space Marines. He just fucking loves Warhammer.
He does.
And all the stuff he does, all Sam does, all Varric does is, I love Warhammer. And I'm talking about all these leaks. And whether you do or don't like leaks, I'm talking about all these leaks because I'm so excited about it all the time.
Yeah.
That's why it does well.
The irony of that, because he's blacklisted.
I know, and he doesn't give a fuck. Yeah. I fucking love Warhammer still. Yeah. And you look at his stream setup, and he's got banners and cabinets and helmets, and like that's the kind of like I've sort of looked at this, and I've a bit of a journey of discovery over the course of the last week or two. I'm like, I need to do better at putting across more balanced arguments. Now, to be clear, I'm not turning us into some positive shilly shithole because they also exist, and I think that they're bad.
That is a weird thing. Side note: if you're positive about Games Workshop, you're a shill, apparently.
Yeah. So, but yeah,
yeah,
I mean, yeah. You do.
If you like Games Workshop, you're a shill. If you hate it, then you're fine.
No, we're not going to go. Everything's like. I'm not the sort of person to like the house is burning down and I'm in the window going everything's fine. We're not going to be doing that. If Games Workshop do something shitty, we should be like one of the things we need to do, one of the things we've always promised to do is report honestly and give our honest opinions and our honest feelings. But what I do want to work hard at, often I find that these shows, when I can bounce off of Joe at least, is easier to do that. I want to do better at putting across the balanced argument. So yes, the stock issues might be down to their incompetence, and they might have not bought the best red blood stock system, and they could have spent the money that Amazon spent. Also, it could be, and I didn't cover this the first time I talked about it, that the hobby's just selling well.
Yeah.
And they're gone, we've expanded, and we haven't expanded big enough.
If you think about like every time a new release comes out, it sells out, right? And yes, some of it is probably scalpers, right? But if you think like of the 500 copies that got sold of End of the Death Part 3, it was only like 80 of them actually went to scalpers. The rest all got sold to people.
Yeah.
And that's an extreme example, right? When the Bretonian stuff first got released for Old World, that sold out before I even got past the bloody waiting screen. But I didn't see any of it on eBay.
No.
There wasn't masses and masses and masses of... All the stuff that was on eBay was from what people dug out of their sheds and lofts. Because the people that bought all the Bretonian stuff, they bought all the Tomb King stuff, they wanted it for themselves.
Exactly, they wanted it. They wanted it. Exactly that.
Yeah, so it's not. Yeah, so it's not. It didn't sell out because Games Workshop was incompetent. It's because they produced a bunch of stuff and people were like num 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 num.
Yeah.
Oh god.
So before we jump into the comments, what I'm trying to get across here is we're not just going to turn into like if you're going, oh, I don't want him to just be happy and positive all the time. If a detachment is complete actual dog shit, narratively and competitively, we'll say it's dog shit.
Poor Admech.
If GW do like they do practices that I don't like. For example, the Deathwing Assault box. Now, currently. I say currently, the Sunday article told us that they're going to be releasing the Dark Angels Codex on Saturday. I tweeted about this. I put it out on Twitter and said, I replied to them and said, it's actually nice that people didn't have to wait too long to get their hands on the book. What was it, a 3-4 week difference between the release of Deathwing Assault and the release of the Codex?
Yeah.
It's better than I expected.
The Sisters one was like a month, wasn't it?
That's, 4 weeks, Joe.
It's longer than that. It was longer. It was. I don't know how to
It was longer than that.
Yeah.
So I actually tweeted and said, it's nice to see that the gap isn't as big as it could have been. I still don't want to see limited edition books coming out and then the Codex going on general sale because it creates this weird month where some people want to play with it and can't and want to take it to events and can't. That's by the by. I'm still going to call them on that kind of behaviour and say, I don't like this personally. It doesn't mean I'm right, by the way. You guys all might think it's perfectly reasonable. But I'm not going to start going, this is a great move if I don't like it. We're not turning into that channel. But we are going to, I think I need to be careful. It's very tempting to go negative stream title because more people will show up. And I think we need to, I think in general, the online community, the streamers, the video producers, the content creators, the Instagrammers, the Reddit posters, those people I think perhaps have more of a duty to kind of be a bit more honest and fish for less clickbait. I don't think it's going to happen. They're going to fish for that clickbait. But just be conscious. My biggest thing I want to say to people is, I don't want to see my subs go down to 25,000 now, but if a channel is constantly negative about Games Workshop and constantly negative about 40k, do you really want to watch them? Do you really come away from that content feeling good?
What normally happens is people watch something because it's negative, and then that person's or channel is negative all the time, and then people will eventually stop watching it because it's just negative. I don't enjoy watching it anymore. I think that has what happened. And then sometimes people will put out a post about why is there from those say, I don't like all the negativity, and people are like, you're the person pushing this negativity. So and they try and change their stance, and it's often difficult to come back.
Brian says there are several creators that are claiming the same things you are, position-wise regarding GW being shills, etc. You two are the only ones that actually believe you win because of authenticity. Thanks, man. What a hero. That's a nice thing to say. Yeah, you're right. I think you're right. There are certain creators out there with really shit accents and stuff that just say, Games Workshop devil. I hate Games Workshop. Games Workshop are awful. I'm buying all the old world. And then they constantly put videos out about Games Workshop. I'm like, if the company's that bad, if you really hate the company so much, stop covering it. Stop making it your sole business to complain about them. But they know that if they did stop making it their sole business, they've literally got nothing else. Yeah. Let's not tumble down that rabbit. Right. We've only done the first super chat. Good. I think we should push on. We should probably push on. Thank you, Brandon Leguez, for one gifted membership. Hero. Thank you, Plummy Plum, for the welcome to Jarl.
What y'all talking about?
What y'all talking about? There's a giveaway starting very soon for Jarls and above. If you've been gifted a Skald tier member or you're already a Skald tier member at the moment, two things. Firstly, we are starting some Skald-only content for the first 5 days. So it will always go out to everybody. But as of hopefully Monday, maybe next Monday, I'll be putting a 2-hour podcast out. If you're a Skald tier above, you better watch it early. For the first 5 days, it's going to go out to members only. YouTube have launched a new feature that allows me to schedule it for members and then schedule it for the general public and do it all automatically. And we're going to be doing that, right? So we're going to have the Siege podcast with James going up on YouTube, probably this Monday, possibly next Monday. Once that podcast is up for members only, 5 days later, on the Saturday, it will go live to everybody else. Alternatively, what you can also do is you can upgrade to Jarl, like that legend did, and every month we do a Jarls only giveaway in the Discord server. And if you're a Jarl tier, you get access to that giveaway for free. You just click a button, it puts you into the giveaway for free, and you win a combat patrol box of your choice if you are the person selected at random. So thank you so much for becoming a Jarl. You get access to that giveaway right now. More Jarls. More Jarls, big wow.
The Joracle has spoken.
Joracle. Perfect.
Thank you, Sam Deacon. Been in this wonderful hobby for 25 years now. Seems to be bigger than ever. Your channel brings joy, the banter, and the fun you guys have is amazing.
Thank you so much.
Thank
what
you.
kind
Love
words?
you long time.
Love you long time.
It is bigger than ever, really. Right. How do you measure whether something has become mainstream? I had this thought in my head and it's only just come pop back in. How do you measure whether something is now mainstream?
I feel like that's an actual whole stream topic in itself.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Is it porn parodies? Is that when you've reached pinnacle?
That's not where I was going to go.
Yeah? I think it is.
I'm not sure. That might be a whole other topic because I feel like I need to give that some thought. But I feel like, and I don't like using his name, as you guys know. I refuse to use it in thumbnails. I refuse to use it in titles. But when someone like Henry Cavill is sat on a talk show and he's talking about it, I feel like that has started to breach that barrier of becoming mainstream.
When supers like Joe Manganiello from films, from Magic Mike, and he played Deadshot played Deathstroke in one for like 20 seconds of a DC film. He was in stuff.
Good, thanks, Jay.
Right, he's a big film star, action film star. He's in films, so you've not seen him, but massive D&D fan.
Yeah,
huge. He's got a.
He was in Big Bang Theory.
Yeah.
Playing D&D with Will Wheaton.
Yeah,
so I watched series.
I've not seen that episode. Yeah, and in his basement, basically, there's pictures of him with the Big Show, the guitarist from Rage Against the Machine, An Order Slave.
Yeah.
Like Vince Vaughn, and they're all just playing D&D together, right, in their basement. And he has his own clothing line for D&D. He now works with Wizards of the Coast to create D&D content, right? And he's a massive superstar. And I think, is that the level? Once someone's comfortable to come out.
I was waiting to say it, and unrated content you got in there beforehand. Yeah. It's almost borderline mainstream when South Park have covered it.
Yeah, it was Ravengard, wasn't it? And Sisters of Battle.
Yeah. And Randy, oh my God,
Yeah.
I love that episode.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Yeah, absolutely brilliant. There you go. Cool. Okay, we've got more to get through. Carry on.
Yes. Critical. Oh,
Can you?
This cable is trying to kill me. Thank you, Benjamin Dustin. The MetaWatch vid was better than is time still. That's not my grammar. That's not me having a stroke. The MetaWatch vid was better than is time still.
Okay.
I usually won't say the MetaWatch was better this time.
The MetaWatch is definitely better because Stu's not in it. Carry on.
So we'll watch that.
Yeah, I haven't watched the video yet. The article, I was aware of it about 10 minutes before we went live, and I had a skim of the article in case it was relevant for the content. I haven't watched the video yet, but Stu has apparently moved on. I don't think we'll be seeing him in MetaWatch anymore.
He's not moved on from Games Workshop. He's still there.
He's moved on from doing MetaWatch.
In his defence, I did say this in the email earlier, that talking on MetaWatch must be horrible.
Oh, absolutely.
Because you're the physical embodiment of all of Games Workshop's mistakes, essentially.
And you will almost definitely have been given things that you cannot say.
Yeah. So things he wants to say, he can't say. So when he does say things, it comes out probably not as great as you'd hope, and Games Workshop's like, or not Games Workshop, the viewers are like, you did this.
Yeah, exactly.
You were sat in your basement making my Blood Angel terrible.
Don't get me wrong. He must have had a difficult job, and I don't begrudge anyone that has to sit there and be like, "Hey, I'm the face of the way the current meta is right now." Cool. So
Matt and Trey,
yeah, the people that make South
big,
Park.
they play Blood and Plunder.
They do, yeah.
Blood and Plunder is an incredible
The
game.
Moshpot says, I started last year after hearing about it from Carvel, read some lore, and was hooked. 1 year later, 6,000 points and starting a new Custodians army.
Custodians.
See, that's what I'm saying. This is what I talk about a lot lately, chat. The Amazon deal, I think, could blow this up, and I just hope Games Workshop keep up with how big it could get.
Simon K says, I'm 32 and I'm getting back into and starting the Chaos Space Marine.
Yes.
Right life choice.
Chaos Space Marines. Into it. I'm into it.
That's next Liam and Joe show.
What?
When is the scale of mainstream? Is it Power Wash Simulator?
Let's not. I don't. Why do we only get shit Warhammer games?
Yeah, that. I've talked. Why do we get one good computer game from Games Workshop or a Games Workshop IP every 10 years, and then everyone's like, oh, when are we going to get a really good, decent computer game? And Games Workshop's like, hold my beer, and then everyone's like, oh, what are we getting? Andy Serkis is involved. Oh, it's a really subpar Grey Knights game. And people are like, oh, it's okay, we'll make up for it. Here's the next announcement for the next computer game, Power Wash Simulator. What did you do? I cleaned the Lehman Russ.
But this is GW, right? Aggressively defend our IP at all costs. Also, Power Wash Simulator.
Yeah.
Like,
why?
I was watching a Twitch channel the other day, and she was playing the new Chaos Gate game.
Yeah.
What came out on next gen consoles on Tuesday.
It's the Andy Serkis one where he plays a Grey Knight.
And I was like, do you know what? Right, the intro video, I was like, oh, and all the narrative behind it, and all the music, I was like, oh, this. And then the game started, I was like, oh, this is shit.
It's basically like every game that gets advertised to me on Facebook and Instagram. It's like Raid Shadow Legends. It's like, oh my god, this looks like a really cool fantasy style combat game. Oh no, it's not.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh.
Someone said Bolt Gun was good. It wasn't though. Like it was graphically designed in the 1970s.
But that's the thing they were aiming for. Bolt Gun was good for about half an hour.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
I played it at Fest and I really enjoyed it. And then I got bored. And then I felt I had to apologise to the guy and say, I'm done now. I don't need to play
that was
anymore.
at Fest. Yeah, you got the behind the scenes. Yeah.
And he was like, do you want to finish the demo? I'm like, no. I said the movement's really smooth, the shield's good. I like the IP. Obviously, I love the IP.
It's like Doom. It was like original Doom though.
Yeah,
I didn't like it.
I just feel like obviously Space Marine 2 is coming out soon, and I'm really excited for that.
I'm not.
Right. I really enjoyed the Dark Tide. Great game. I really enjoyed that.
So that's actually something. Can you crossplay on Dark Tide?
Yes.
That's something.
Dark Tide is a great game if you do not want to think or really push yourself. If you run a wind down at the end of a hard day's work, Dark Tide is perfect.
So I've heard as well that there's been a bunch of updates done to it.
Yeah, I've not played it since the updates have come out.
No, so I am like, a lot of it was like, it was very kind of restricted. And now they say there's a lot more character development and stuff. I don't typically like PvE games.
Yeah.
I've played maybe 3 PvE games to any kind of length in my life, and I still haven't completed any of those 3.
Maybe we play it on Wednesday.
So I'm interested. So I don't like PvE. I typically only like PvP, but I have been hooked on a couple of PvE games, and I feel like Dark Tide could be one just because of the narrative setting.
Yeah. I just feel like Games Workshop's really adverse to AAA title games. So one game that's massively popular at the moment, super popular, is
Helldivers 2.
Helldivers 2. Right? You reskin that game with the minimalist of effort. It's a 40k game. Helldivers are Kassakin or Stormtroopers, right? What are you shooting? Tyranids
Or
Necrons.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're defending a star system.
You could even...
Super Earth, Terra.
You could even have skinned the Helldivers as Astartes who come in and drop pods.
Yeah.
Like,
I think because of the movement, because you do rolls and stuff, like Yeah, probably could be a space. Literally, right, and that game, right, it's so popular, the servers are full. And the people that make the game are like, if you can't afford it now, don't spend the money now because you can't play it because we don't have space for you. They're like, wait, buy the game when you can afford it, and we probably would have expanded the servers by then.
Yeah, that was the CEO that said that.
Yeah.
On Twitter, yeah.
They're, like, it's a game that's trying to end the console wars because the PlayStation, the PC players, like, we need more people playing this because we need to defend the system. Right, that could have been a Warhammer game.
If there, as a PC, if do you know what? This sounds really bad. I have no interest in really playing. I've watched a ton of Helldivers content because it is so popular. So it's beat the concurrent players number of GTA 5. It's beat that. Right? It's huge. The game is huge, and it like looking at it.
It's just fat boy. I'm late. Can I do an IOU for 5? Why do people tell us that they're late?
I do say that every time.
I love it. I love you.
So I've watched
Or you do.
a ton of the content. The game itself, I've never at any point said the game looks bad or dull. The game looks absolutely incredible. It looks incredible as a game, right? It looks genuinely amazing. I'm not a PvE fan, so I watched a bunch of it to see, is it something I can get into? And I don't think it is. I think it has the PvE element that I really, really hate, which is, as it gets harder, we just swarm you with more enemies. And I'm just not.
If I could afford it, I'd get a PlayStation.
That being said, if they then said, "Oh, by the way, you've got it on PC. Here's a download, and we will completely reskin it in the 40k universe," I'd be like, "Ooh."
It wouldn't surprise me much like with like Fallout. There will be mods for it.
Yeah, probably.
Because there's 40k mods for the Fallout.
Yeah.
Right, we need to move on because we've only done 3.
It's because people give us good talking points.
I know.
This is why postcards are so important to us, chat.
So Galahad Grail Hunter, Warhammer, like life, has a simple principle, the Will Wheaton law, don't be a dick. Fact. Some people do fail with that, but...
Some people fail that with general life as well, Joe. That's the problem.
That is, yeah. But, like...
Isn't that right, Eddie?
He's here on Tuesday.
He's here on Tuesday. We've all missed Eddie. Eddie's back on Tuesday.
Have we? Yes, we've missed Eddie.
We've all missed Eddie. Eddie's back on Tuesday. I think I'm playing him. I think I'm playing Eddie.
You are?
I think you're not here on Tuesday.
I'm not here on Tuesday. I was voted out, but I've nearly finished building it. I've got 2 full Bretonian boxes to do. I've nearly finished 2,000 points of Soulblight Gravelords. And then I've got White Scars to do afterwards.
No. White Scars isn't for the channel.
No, White Scars is like...
In your personal time.
My personal time is taken up by painting Bretonians. The thing is though, I just want to get it all done as quickly as possible and out there.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Okay. Next.
Sam Deacon, definitely not the same. I don't know what that's in reference to, but thank you.
Yeah. If you're going to postcard on a Liam and Joe show, it needs to be a little bit timeless.
No, just go definitely not the same, and then brackets in context to this.
Sam, are you still here? Do you remember what that was in response to? Thank you so much, by the way, for the super chat. But
thank you, Track187, for 5 gifted memberships.
Legend, doing your part.
I tell you what, they're still talking about games, by the way. One game I really enjoyed was Inquisitor Martyr. Banging game. Although they're still asking mental money for it on Xbox at the moment. But Chaotic Failure. Definitely have more fun now than I did in 9th, but that's primarily due to the same aspect you guys channel. And now I have a friend group that I can have fun with rather than chancing that guy at events.
Yeah, I think, do you know what? I definitely do think that has monumental, by the way, thanks for the big orange donor, you're a legend. I do think that has monumentally contributed to the fun that I'm having in 10th edition.
Yeah.
I haven't, hands up high, if you come to me for competitive, like actually really strong competitive advice or meta advice, I'm not the person to talk about that kind of stuff. Go to Art of War, right? I'm not the person to talk about that. Even Titans have got more of a grip on that sort of thing.
Being different to other channels.
Okay, thank you. Even Titans have got more of a grip on that kind of stuff than I have. I haven't been, do you know what? I haven't been to a competitive event for most of last year and for the whole of this year so far. I know we're already at the end of February. Because I get my fill of playing games. I want to go to more events just to meet people. That's the thing. I don't necessarily care about playing other people at events. And it's because I get to play with you, with Eddie, with Brom, with Paddy in this channel. And we have a group of people that have the same attitude and mindset mostly.
Yeah.
And there's variances, right? So Eddie is a little bit more on the competitive side than the rest of us.
Yeah.
You know, that's just a fact. Brom typically has been a little bit less competitive than the rest of us in recent years.
Yeah.
That's a fact. So there's always going to be a variance. That's going to happen. If you can find yourself a local gaming group of people that are like-minded, it will just exponentially improve your experience in the hobby, without doubt.
Finding people that just like play, like obviously all of us, like Paddy is an exceptional competitive player, right? But he really fucking loves playing Warhammer. Like we're talking about having like a group day where we just play Warhammer together off camera, just for the fun of it, spend time, but just play the game. Like I'm really enjoying the hobbying as a whole. So I've got my friend coming over tomorrow. We're going to play some bolt action. I've got a bolt action tournament, but it's just an event. There's no prizes for becoming first, second, or third. Next Saturday, I've got an old world event coming up with the team tournament. I really want to get an AOS event in as well. And obviously when Hobby House opens here, we had to play everything all the time.
Yeah.
All the things. I can't wait. Like the game I really want to play is A Song of Fire and Ice. I really enjoy that. My friend Mike's got like 5 million armies. So I'd be like, come to my house, we'll play Song of Fire and Ice.
Yeah.
There's the new Song of Fire and Ice strategy game coming out soon, which is on Kickstarter at the moment. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
Michael sent me pictures and I was like, I don't care if I get to play. I just want them. The models are stunning.
But Celtic Feather, if you found a group of people that let you do that, that's good. If you are someone, do you know what we can do? We did this in the DZ Discord. We haven't done it. I don't think we've done it in our Discord yet, but we can do this, and we've got a Thanes version of this. I'm interested to know if people want this. If you don't want it, it's obviously fine. It's not a problem. But what we did previously was we opened up a Google Maps thing, and you could drop a pin on roughly where your location was. I'm not expecting you to put it outside your front door. No one's expecting that. But it means that I could drop a pin somewhere as a random person in Discord, and then Joe could drop a pin what looks like around 15 minutes away from me, and it actually gives me the opportunity to message Joe and be like, hey, dude, you're near me.
Yeah.
We're a member of the same channel, so we clearly have a similar-ish interest already. How about we go to play games? And when we did that in the DZ Discord previously, a bunch of people made new mates, friends, and gaming connections simply because of that map. We can do that again. It's no cost, no obligation.
There's a guy Ash that I was talking to. He's like a big, beautiful, muscly man, like a muscly cloud.
Yeah.
Right. I was talking to him, and he's like, "Oh, I'm just down the road from you." We were talking about he goes, "I live here. There's not much." I was like, "You're literally 25 minutes from my house."
Yeah.
Right. He's going to come over to my house and play a game.
That's cool. We can do that.
Yeah.
I think, why not?
Yeah.
Again, there's no obligation. No, you only have to put your pin on there if you want to.
It's like Tinder, but for Warhammer.
Yeah.
or Grindr, So I think it's like a dating app for 40k fans.
So Lord says this is why Tactics have made their new league app, but I am not convinced. I adore Lawrence.
I've seen that advertised. You have to pay for it.
Do you?
I don't know.
I don't think so. I adore Lawrence. He's a good friend of mine. I have previously spoken to him. I haven't actually spoken to him this year properly yet. The problem with it being a league is, and they've said, right, they've said categorically, you don't have to bring the best lists. You can bring what you want and have fun in the league, but people won't. There's a league involved, right? So I think that you'll still find people that are going to be that guy because it's a league.
Yeah.
Just having pins on a map where people can randomly find people that they can go and play with means that I'm not trying to be number one. I'm not trying to be top of a league. So I think that the second you introduce a degree of competitiveness to it, some people will make that kind of choice that they would do to win. Right? Do you see what I'm getting at? Like, I would encourage everybody to give it a go.
Well, what you could do is you put your little pin in and you click on it and it comes up with a little profile. It's like, my name is Joe.
Yeah.
I have Blood Angels, Tyranids, and Guard.
Yeah.
Right? And then someone could be like, this guy Joe here has got Tyranids and I've got Imperial Guard. We should just do a cool narrative Imperial Guard versus Tyranid game. Wouldn't that be fun?
Yeah.
That's what you want to kind of encourage.
Yeah, Leon says, like I said in Pilot Channel last night, 40k is dead. I mean, as we've spoke about on this stream, flat disagree. Tournament numbers are higher than they've ever been before. Player numbers, I spoke to GW about their data, player numbers are higher than they've ever been before.
40k boxes literally sell out.
Yeah,
all the time.
if 40k is dead, then...
The thing is, though, Pilo's a heresy channel now, isn't it?
40K
heresy in old world.
40k is dead is literally the complete opposite to what all the data is showing.
Yeah.
That's not me, that's the data. So.
Right then. Dave B. Bang on, Liam. If I wanted to listen to moaning, I'd talk to my wife. I'm here for giggles. I'd like to see new missions is all simples. I'll try and I'm running Tyranids versus Custodes tonight, and I'm going to run the Vanguard Stealthy Nid.
What I'd like to do with Joe as a starter is create a PDF document between us that has, I don't know, let's say 6 missions, right? That specifically use cards from the Leviathan mission deck, right? And then that set a narrative stall out, okay?
Yeah.
So we picked cards, so you've all got the cards, but this is the narrative mission we're going to want you to play. And loosely, this is the kind of terrain layout you should try and achieve to make that mission work. If that goes well, we can expand that further to, here's another 6 missions, don't even use the cards, they're complete narrative custom scenarios. What we'll try and do also is we will try and play those missions out on stream. So I feel like that's something that we as a channel can definitely help the community in, right? Can't get a table, 40k is not dead.
Ares Mafia, Liam makes the thumbnails, but we have been talking about a new way of making.
Yeah, I've got a graphic designer I've got a trainee graphic designer who's a fan of the channel.
But we want to change the style.
Yeah.
The specific style we want to go
There's a
for.
specific style that I do want, but I don't think he'll do that. Have you seen, by the way, if you ever check out Tim the Tap Man on YouTube, he's a video gamer, right? He's not a 40k person. His thumbnails are fucking great.
They're beautiful.
They are peak
Yeah.
YouTube thumbnails.
They are another level.
They are take the piss out of himself and everybody around him. It's brilliant.
Him, Doc, and 2 other people did the Fortnite event, right? They got, as a team, they got knocked out so quickly. They got negative points, right? And they were like, the amount of effort they put into their thumbnails, posters, everything, took longer than the time they were even in the event.
Yeah. He says, let me rephrase, 40k as a strategic war game is dead. It's just flinging the best at each other. 30k far superior as an actual war game. So that I don't necessarily completely disagree with, to be fair, mate. But 40k as a whole thing, at least, isn't dead. It's as popular as it's ever been. In terms of the strategic, if you want in-depth, detailed strategic war game, I would agree that 30k is better in terms of a base game. But in terms of content and game popularity, it is lower.
I'd probably say.
And I would agree that Old World actually is probably
the most strategic.
The most strategic now.
Yeah.
Where you've got pivot in and wheeled units and rank and file. I'd suggest that Old World now is even more strategic than 30k is. Old World's content is doing well.
Yeah, like in Old World, for instance, you don't even have to kill stuff to destroy units, kind of thing. Because you can get yourself in a position where you could get a rear charge on a unit. Then after the fight, you do a leadership test. So, well, I charged you in the rear, so you get a negative leadership test, or you failed your test. Cool, we'll just run you down.
Yeah,
I think it's a very very strategic game.
Now you've rephrased it, I'm not inclined to disagree with you. I think you're probably right there on the whole. But in terms of like casual garage beer hammer, 30k is as popular as I think it's ever been before.
Honest, even in the narrative, no strategy is used. How do Space Marines win battles? We fire drop pods full of angry men at a planet and hope they kill everything.
But I think GW are doing a good job here at offering something for everybody. So if you want detailed strategic war game, play Heresy. If you want, I can just throw things at each other and drink beer and eat pretzels, play 40k.
Yeah.
You know? Fantasy's always been more strategic than 40k from Warhammer Fantasy Battle to... Yeah, I agree. Strong agree. Fantasy Battle was always more strategic than 40k. That's a fact. Cool. Anyway, next, Joe.
Ow. Thank you, Big Bad P Gaming, for a gifted membership. Thank you.
Did you miss the green one there? We did that one. Did you do that one?
We did that one. Bang on, Liam. And then, yeah.
Oh, yeah, we did. Okay, good.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I'm
micromanaging, I shouldn't.
Yeah, thank you, Doug. Doug's Lyle? Lizzle? I'm going to say Lyle. Enjoying 10th and getting the Deathwing Assault box ready to field 50 termies. Favourite YouTube content, the Thursday afternoon Liam and Joe show. Thank you.
My
That's a
man.
long time. 50 terminators is...
It actually feels really good when we brought this back. It was it became a bit like, because of the studio setup we have now, the table's over there, we're over here. It feels it's easier to put this content
less
out.
admin.
Yeah, it's a lot less effort.
Because
and we're sat down for an hour and a half, which is nice.
yeah,
rather than
before we'd stood up, we'd have to clear the table down, set up the new cameras, set up the computers, and then have to rebuild the table for the evening. After that.
Yeah. But thank you anyway. You're a hero. And 50 Terminators. I love it.
I love it.
I'm a fan. I am sad you can only take 15 Deathwing Knights now, but because they're so hard to kill, I'm not massively surprised.
I hate him. So annoying. Thank you, Sir Galahad. When everyone is special, no one is special. It's nice finding moments that don't have any outside rules influencing the moment. Cherish those moments.
I don't know what that's a reference to, but
I think he's talking about when we're talking about 10th edition of how everything is just mad powerful.
That's a lovely comment, though. In general, it's a general rule. That's a lovely comment. You know,
and then you kill those moments with your rerolls. There are great moments, and we do have a lot of fun.
I have so much fun.
Yeah.
At the moment, I am like, and I think part of this, going back to Leon's comment, actually, I think part of this is because there's slightly less impact, like there's slightly less stress on strategy now.
Yeah.
I do think it is a less strategic game than it was before, and I do think it is a less strategic game than, say, Heresy. But I think that's allowing me to just dick around a bit more.
Yeah.
And I don't think you are punished as much now for your mistakes.
No.
Whereas perhaps in the past you were definitely, more punished if you'd made a bit of a cock up. But in terms of the Garage Hammer vibe, in terms of the beer and pretzel vibe, I think that makes it a more fun experience.
Yeah.
We can throw things at each other, just care a little bit less, and just enjoy ourselves. And because I'm taking that approach, and I'm not kind of going, I wish this was more strategic. I'm going, fuck it, it is what it is. Let's have some fun. And I'm throwing the line in, and I'm throwing Angron in, and Berserkers are a bit toilet. Let's see what they can murder. But I know they're a bit toilet. Let's see what we can murder. There we go. So, I'm just having fun at the moment.
Thank you, Nordos44, for the gifted membership. Thank you, War Master Will. It says, I'm building an AdMech army because I love the range. And there's no better excuse to say why you're doing anything. I like the models, that's why I'm doing it.
I think for the general hobbyist, that's typically the most common rule. I think most people are like, so one of the reasons why I've moved on to Project World Eaters, Eldar, because of the hatred they're receiving online constantly, the love for my Eldar, my beloved elves, is starting to die because I'm just bored of people's negativity about the faction I love the most. So my second favourite faction has always been World Eaters, and I pulled out some Berserkers from round the back and looked at the kits, and I was like, and I never built the kits because I gave them all to Joe, because I knew if I opened them, I wouldn't hand them over. So I handed them over to Joe, right? And I pulled them out and I was like, these are beautiful. And every time I deployed the Channel World Eaters army on the table, I look at them and go, these are gorgeous kits. So I'm now having the most fun hobbying I've ever had. I'm building Dark Angels Terminators. I'm building fucking, what's it called? World Eaters. I'm building Sylvaneth. It's just models alike. Just models alike.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
I think so. You say that about Eldar, but I want to build and paint an Eldar army.
Yeah.
Just because I just love the model range.
Trout says, is Eddie part of the team? He's here on Tuesday, Trout. He's been away for a bit. He's here on Tuesday.
Yeah.
He is coming. Trust me. It's just, he's got little legs. It takes him a long time to walk in.
Yeah. Thank you, Brian
Adams.
Coleman.
Oh.
Hell yeah, guys. Keep up the positive vibe. I promise it'll go further. As a new player, you can explain why playing with specific models... As a new player, can you explain why playing with specific model guns is fun?
Have you just murdered that super chat, Jay?
As a new player, can you explain why playing with specific model guns is fun?
He hasn't murdered that. He's actually read it word for word.
Is that... I'm trying to... Right. I don't want to offend you here, Brian. That's not my intention.
Can you clarify the last sentence?
As in model guns as in airsoft, or
I feel like
playing with specific models is fun. Like I really like playing with army just because like the models. It doesn't matter if you lose it. Like I played with Harlequins. I knew they were terrible going into it. But I like the play style.
Loadouts. Okay.
Oh, model loadouts.
Playing with specific model loadouts is fun. I mean,
it depends what you want to achieve, really, isn't it?
If you're a new player, so this is if you're a new player to the hobby, you wouldn't, I assume, have been around in 9th, 8th, 7th specifically. So in previous editions, loadouts had an impact on points values. So a heavy bolter cost less points than a las cannon, or a power fist would cost perhaps less than a thunder hammer, etc. Right? So those loadouts then had an impact on points, and so depending on the faction you were building or the force you were building, you might have had 10 points left over, and you might chuck a heavy bolter in, or you might have had 5 points over. You might have gone from a thunder hammer down to a power fist. As a new player,
I just found it overwhelming when there's units with 10 different guns. Yeah, but that's normally a hangover from. Well, it's not really, because I actually said that the loadouts in the old editions were better because people were kind of looking for the best efficiency. So they're like, so before you'd have a tactical squad and you could take a flamer, a plasma pistol, power sword, and a missile launcher. But a lot of people would go for efficiency in the case of also time efficiency and user efficiency. Like, I'm going to give everyone a bolt gun. For one squad, it does one thing. It shoots bolt guns at that one thing. I'm not going to mix it because if I shoot a metal gun at someone plays, I can't shoot. Whereas now, the thing is though, Games Workshop's look of going, you can take everything that's in the box.
So in terms of 10th edition for new players, it's arguably better because you can just put whatever you want in. It doesn't make any difference points-wise, right? So if you don't want multiple weapons, you'd have to take multiple weapons. There is an argument to say that if you didn't take all the special weapons that you could take, then you would be paying a points tax on things you're not using.
Yeah.
To Leon's point earlier, it just basically means now that people take all the best guns. Why would you take a heavy bolt if you could just take a las cannon?
Yeah.
So it was a barrier because I was afraid I would drop $60 on a box of units and then choose the wrong gun and be stuck. That's always been a risk. And the thing is, there's been a risk for multiple reasons as well. So even in previous editions, it was a risk simply because GW could change rules and change points.
Yeah.
So you go, I'm going to put this thunder hammer on this guy, and then Games Workshop could change the rules of the thunder hammer or change the points of the thunder hammer, and you go, shit, this isn't viable anymore. Yeah. That's unfortunately, Brian, that's always a risk of the hobby in general. Yeah. A lot of people out there, I don't do this myself, but a lot of people out there will shout magnetized weapons, and then it doesn't matter what you do. I'm not a fan of doing that. As a new player, I would probably try and convince you to just take shit you think is cool, right? So if you think plasma's cool, run plasma.
I think what the best thing to do is before you build a unit is look at its data entry. In the case, because it depends, like if you want to go, and I think the idea is if you're building an infantry unit, you go in your head, well, what do I want this infantry unit to do? Do I want it to be a jack of all trades? Do I want this infantry unit to be good at killing other infantry? Do I want this infantry unit to be killing elites? And that might help you choose the weapons that go in it.
Yeah.
Like if you don't want to miss out. But if you're like, I want to put all the best stuff, put all the best stuff on it because I want to do really well at tournaments, for instance, people that do that. But you might say, I want to give all these people chainswords because chainswords go burr. You know?
I also think there's an argument now in 10th edition, and I don't know how people feel about this in general, but there's an argument now to be like, my sergeant has a chainsword because that's what I built him with. He's the only model in the unit that can take a thunder hammer. He's got a thunder hammer. Yeah. But you can also tell which one he is.
Yeah, there's also weird hangovers from indexes now to codexes. For example, assault marines with jump packs in the index could take thunder hammers.
Yeah.
Assault intercessors can't. I can't be bothered to take the thunder hammers off mine, so I just go, they can take power fists, I just don't get the exact same profile, I just can't do dev wounds.
Yeah, it's a better hit.
Yeah.
Exactly, right? There's a degree of proxying now that I think is acceptable. The only thing I would suggest is if you've got 10 blokes in your squad and you say 2 of them have got melter guns, and there's no way I can tell that 2 of them have got melter guns, that's why I have a problem.
Yeah.
But if you've got 2 guys with big heavy bolters, and I'm running the 2 heavy bolters as melter guns, I'd have less of a problem nowadays because of the way the points is for GW. I think it's an edition issue more than a person issue. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I think that makes sense. The thing that I like to do, and I'm aware that I am potentially unique in this, but if I can take, with an Astra Militarum unit, you can take 2 plasmas or 2 melter guns or 2 this or 2 that or 2 something else. I am the sad sack that would buy
2 boxes.
that would buy enough to have all the options available to me,
Yeah.
and I'd pick different weapon options for narrative reasons or depending on what's good at the time if I'm going to a tournament.
Yeah, I've currently got 20 Kassakin, and both squads have got 2
Volley guns.
Volley guns. I've got a 3rd squad to build. I'll probably put 2 volley guns in that, and then I'll probably in the future get a 4th box and build all the special weapons.
Yeah, exactly.
And then, so I've got 40, but I can swap in and out kind of thing. Like, for instance, like one of my sergeants in my squads can take power fists and power swords, or chain swords, but none of my models have them. So,
Which is definitely at $60 a box, it's definitely a long-term goal rather than a short-term goal.
Yeah.
What I would say is, genuinely to anyone actually, don't stress about unit loadouts at this stage of your hobby journey.
No.
Take what you think's cool, build what you think's cool, and then in the future, you can just, and there's ways in which, even with things like eBay, there's ways of buying the single bits for a single model if you just want to make another melter gun.
Just learn to play and have fun. Just do what's cool.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But don't stress about loadouts at this stage, mate. Just enjoy the game.
Yeah. Thank you, Brian Garrett says, I appreciate you as my hospital morning show.
Amazing.
I hope you're okay.
I hope you're okay.
Yeah.
I think he's recovering from surgery if it's the same person I think it is from last night or the day. Yeah. So I hope you're doing well. I hope you're comfortable.
Were you too sexy? They had a sexy reduction.
Joe's had many of those. It's not worked, is it, Joe?
I've gone too far now. Thank you, Street Spirit, for 5 gifted memberships. Thank you, Jill Thompson-Stewart. Do we need to exclude 9th from event comparisons due to COVID skew, reduced numbers coming out of lockdowns, etc.? Should we look at 7th or 8th edition?
No, I think, is that what happened with 9th though? I thought that 9th kind of exploded a little bit because people were so desperate to get back to being sociable again.
I think 9th, the problem is that there were reduced, they lost an entire year, didn't they? Because it was essentially like a 3-year cycle. They lost an entire year where people couldn't even leave the house.
Yeah.
So they were selling more models than they ever had because they couldn't leave the house. So people were just using that time to build and paint. But in terms of playing with those models at events, it was reduced because the last year of the 3 years was essentially half of it people either couldn't go to events or there were reduced numbers, or if you went to an event, you had to wear a hazmat suit so no one could be bothered.
But I think even if you compare 10th to 8th, numbers are up.
Yeah.
Tournaments are selling out.
Yeah.
It's doing well.
Yeah.
Brian says it is him doing well. 10 inches of colon, not sexy, less full of shit though. You could do with 10 inches of your colon being removed, actually.
If I could do with extra sometimes.
Yeah. So I think the thing is, right, COVID, again, I had this chat with GW last Thursday. COVID did throw data all over the place.
Yeah.
And it can't, the data that came out of COVID for the hobby in general can't be trusted. Events were dead for a while, then they exploded because people wanted to people interaction. The models during COVID just sold and sold and sold because people had nothing else they wanted to. So the COVID data is an absolute anomaly, and we can't trust
thousands
it.
and thousands of people came back to the hobby because of COVID. That wouldn't have come back to the hobby if COVID didn't happen. They're like, I'm trapped in the house. I've got 2 teenage kids. I don't know what to do with them. I used to play Warhammer.
Yeah.
I can now do something with my children now.
Exactly. Yeah.
Besides trap them in a box.
Careful, Joe.
Yeah.
No one phones social services. Joe's children's fine.
My child is fine.
Probably.
Maybe.
Wherever she is.
It's like Pavlov's child at the moment.
Yeah.
I'm joking.
Cool.
Thank you, John Mercado, for 20 gifted memberships. Thank you, John Mercado, for 10 gifted memberships.
We've got all the way up to 49 memberships on the Liam and Joe show.
I know.
And there's 321 people watching.
I know.
If all 321 people gifted a membership, we'd reach record levels of members for the Liam and Joe show.
Thank you, John Mercado, for the big Pink super chat.
Oh, that's 50 or more.
He's been drinking.
Has he? Good.
Right, love you, John.
In the morning
You're
as
a
well.
hero, yeah. Liam, point on the Angron. Where did Stu Black touch you? After the recent balance state.
All over the whole of the Angron.
Yeah. And then he put him in a sack and beat him. Yeah. Because you say horrible things about him on the internet.
I sympathise with his job, but I
Yeah.
also feel like, to some extent, people should have slightly more integrity. And rather than going on screen and literally chatting bullshit, I'd rather hear nothing.
Yeah.
And the thing is, when you make, I've harked about this specific moment repeatedly.
Yeah.
I'm aware that I'm talking about the specific moment over and over again. But when you go on MetaWatch in December and say, well, the game's only been out for 3 months and the game was launched in June, you just make yourself look like a moron. That can't be excused. Okay, it's I have no doubt that he actually has a very difficult job, and much like Joe said earlier, the poor fucker is the person who's got to stand there in front of a camera and be like, I'm going to talk about the balance as if it's all down to me, and it's not all down to him at all.
And you got to think, in terms of the whole date thing, we do have to remember that Games Workshop literally works years in advance.
Yeah.
He has to do a balanced data slate for a game that he might not even be working on now. If you think that the last year of 9th edition, right, where they're throwing out all those balanced data slates and stuff, right, the last 6 weeks of it, they were doing 10th edition.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
It was probably more longer than that, but
yeah, absolutely.
For 6 to 8 months of last year, where they were trying to fix 9th edition and put out balances, they were done with it.
Yeah, I actually do sympathise with the position that he was in, but I also don't necessarily think he did a great job. Hey.
I don't think it wasn't how he did it, it's how it was the words he used.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mostly because those words are bullshit. That's the problem, Joe. Mostly because what he said was bollocks. And this is when, when you have the positive, negative argument and the internet's a lie and blah, blah. What doesn't help a channel like us be positive is when someone like Stu goes, and it's not just him, but someone it's when they do the previews as well. Put some people on Twitch with some fucking personality, for Christ's sake. It's like corporate GW have just got a hand up your ass, and it's like you're a hand puppet, and they just sprout. Oh, I'm so excited about these models.
It's like when parents tell you having kids is great, whilst their kids in the living room with a lighter setting fire,
peeling the wallpaper off at the same time,
drawing on everything. Oh, here's my immaculate table. I'm now going to carve into it with a spoon. Yeah, you're not selling this to me, right? Kind of thing. I love my child. I know I've referenced it twice already.
It. Not done well there, Joe, have you?
Creature just skitters around my house like a lizard, just,
on the walls.
Yeah. But she's in her teenage years now. I don't see her. It's not even her teenage years. She acts like a teenager.
Yeah.
And she spends all the time playing on the Xbox.
My eldest is 11. He acts like a teenager.
Yeah.
It's terrifying, actually. Yeah.
So, dreadful creatures. Right. Thank you, Robert White. Hi.
Hi. Was that it?
Hi, mate. Afghan Rumi again.
Oh, hey, Rob.
Watching your content whilst eating cold pizza. Love them both. I fucking love cold pizza.
You're mad for cold. Fun fact, is cold pizza nicer than hot pizza? Is Domino's better when they deliver it, or the next morning when you grab it out of that box and you take a bite?
That's a topic on its own. Let me finish it. So keep up the great work. Love you vicariously. Love living vicariously through you.
You're a legend, Rob.
I love you long time.
Miss you.
I fucking love cold pizza. What I tend to do, right, if I order Domino's, because we all know the Domino's is mega expensive.
Yeah.
If you buy it off the app, it's 50% off.
They have on the app, they have a smart coupon application thing.
Yeah.
You can go smart deal. Fun fact, I found out, it doesn't always apply the best discount.
So what I find this really mental in Domino's discount, right? Spend 30 quid, 40% off, right? spend 40 quid, 30% off. Surely anything over £30, you should always apply the 40% off. But if you do it on the app, it's 50%. The markup on Domino's is mental, by the way.
Good pizza is better fresh, shit pizza is better cold. Exactly. So Domino's is better cold. Because it is shit pizza.
As I was saying, you buy a pizza from Domino's, they're always expensive, so I just go for the biggest one. I eat...
Of course you do.
Go for the biggest option, right? You eat half that night, and then you put the rest in for breakfast, lunch next day. That's what I tend to do. Walk into the kitchen in the morning, put the kettle on, take a slice of pizza out, make a cup of tea, num num num.
Have you had proper pizza before?
From Italy?
Yeah.
Yes.
Proper pizza, like
I've been to Italy twice. I went to Rome and Venice.
The problem with Domino's, Domino's is horrible. It's just disgusting. It's just shit. But my kids, for some reason, fucking love Domino's because they're kids, much like they love Burger King.
I love Domino's.
Domino's is fucking rats, Joe, and it's overcosted. But it is, right? That's why everyone buys it at 50% off because it's overcosted. And even at 50% off, I suggest it's probably more expensive than it should be.
Well, it is. Because if you don't buy it on the app, which is 50%, it's 50% more. The markup is mad.
Yeah.
Christos Margarita.
Pineapple pizza, yes or no?
Yeah.
No!
Hawaiian is my favourite.
Brian says that Domino's is cheap in America. It's not to the app, because we have a Domino's app, right? Only because this will give you some context.
I have not grown up from my teenage years.
I can only give it to you in pounds, obviously.
Yeah.
Literally Domino's app right now. Let's go menu. We'll go pizza. And we'll just pick, hang on. All of the pizzas as a large, so the most expensive large pizzas, £23.99.
Yeah.
24 quid for a single pizza that is 13.5 inches in diameter. £23.99 for a pizza.
Yeah.
That is crazy sauce.
That's half price. Yeah. I do have a passport. It's run out though. I need to get it updated. I went to Rome in Italy when I was like 17, 18. I had melon ice cream. Blew my mind. Rome, by the way, glorious.
Domino's is just not good, Joe. It's just not good.
Right, you need to understand.
Fun fact, fast food on the whole is actually not that good.
What are you putting on your hole? Sorry, set me up there. Right, the thing you need to understand, Liam, is I fucking love pizza.
I know you love pizza.
I'm not overly fussed in what form it comes in terms of from shops or from takeaways or if it's made by someone. I have to see the person. Like if there's someone's like, I made homemade pizza, I have to look at them first.
Brian says less than $10 for pepperoni pizza there.
Ooh.
Honestly. What you're telling me is depressing me, to be honest with you, because my kids love Domino's. So when it's like, right, kids, it's not too common, thankfully. Right, kids, you're getting a treat tonight. What would you like to have as a takeaway food? And they go Domino's, and they always say Domino's. And I'm always like, I don't want to ask, but they've earned the treat for whatever reason. It's always Domino's. And then to compound the situation, to make it worse, my eldest's choice of pizza from Domino's, which is already shit because it's Domino's, is cheeseburger pizza.
That's not the best one.
It's literally the toppings of a cheeseburger.
I love the concept of it, but when I eat it, all I taste is gherkin. It's just gherkin pizza. I mean, I'll eat it all because it's glorious. The great one, the festive Christmas one, was banging. But let's be honest, Pizza Hut is peak. You took me to Pizza Hut a couple of months ago. It's glorious.
I treat him right, chap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Haven't taken me again, though.
No, because everything's expensive in this country now, Joe. Literally bought you Five Guys last week.
I know.
And a burger.
I did say you didn't have to. But they treated me all right. Lovely
Five
boys.
Guys.
Yeah.
Five Guys. Again, Five Guys isn't the best in the world. It's not like I'm saying it's great food, but a Five Guys burger is significantly better than a McDonald's or a Burger King burger.
Yeah.
And Five
KFC
Guys
burgers are lovely as well.
Five Guys is fucking expensive. I bought me, Joe, and Kyle Five Guys on the business as a treat, and we had a burger each, single burger each, like a small or medium fries each, and I think two of us had a milkshake, and it was like 70 fucking quid.
Yeah. The Domino's
Unbelievable.
franchises.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
So they
And
charge-
you're right, Zodiac. Everyone liked the stream. 295 people watching, 195 likes right now. Click, 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 click.
Our numbers have dropped since we started talking about pizza.
Yeah, people go, they like Domino's. No, the numbers started dropping as soon as you said you liked pineapple.
Hawaiian's my favourite.
Carry on.
Thank you, Dan Skiffy, for 5 gifted memberships. Love you long time. We should do a food review. They're just saying. We should get Paddy on. Paddy is prime lover of pizza as well.
Paddy's a dirty eater.
Yeah. For a buff boy, he eats like a 5-year-old.
He does, yeah.
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 Carlos Lamas. Warhammer Fantasy was always my favourite until the release of More Time. That game was the most amazing Games Workshop game ever. It caused me to go skirmish games only. Can't play Old World because it bores me. Carlos, More Time is GOAT.
Is it?
I fucking love
There's 2 games people mention that is the best game system they've ever made. That I hear. More Time is one of them.
Yeah.
The other one is Middle Earth Strategy Battle Game.
That's the roll of 6 and you win game.
I don't.
The Lord of the Rings game was one of the best rules written games they've ever done.
I don't know
Right.
either of them.
More Time was amazing.
I don't know either of the game systems, so I can't comment. They're the two that I hear mentioned in the same breath as the best game system they've made.
I think the thing about More Time the most is the atmosphere that is created in the sense of the board, because it's all gothic, misery, dark. Like the whole thing is in a burnt out, ruined city, and everything's terrible. But if you're really into like high fantasy stuff, it's perfect for you. And you get to really play with converting and creating models. I really want it, because obviously I've got the Vampire Council doing. I'm going to pick up all of the... I need to get all the Vampire Hunter... The Witch Hunter kits. I need to get all of them. I need to get the Hunter and Hunted box set.
Yep.
Which comes with the Caesar Sigmar Hunter guys. And like that's just... We could just play More Time all the time then. Because Warcry sets and Shadespire sets are perfect for More Time.
Mandy says Little Caesars can't go wrong with $5 large pizza. Do you guys have those over there? I don't think so.
No, we've got... who's that really terrible pizza chain? Papa John's.
Papa John's is a pizza chain.
Yeah.
I would not like to confirm whether I think they're terrible or not.
Well, the Papa John's in Salisbury was terrible, and that's why it closed
I
down.
often find, though, with fast food restaurants specifically, especially considering a lot of them are franchised, that you just change postcode and they'll be different.
Why is it pizza from a takeaway is entirely different pizza-based entity? Like, it's not like a pizza base, it's more like a slightly harder sponge. If you go to a chicken shop...
I've never played More Time. I'd be interested in playing More Time one day,
Yeah?
just to give it a go.
Yeah, I've got the rule book. My mate, Phil from Beyond the Tabletop, he got me printed and covered a More Time rule book. He made one for me.
Leon says that for £5.79 he gets you a 30cm Hawaiian.
Oh,
But what if I want a Brazilian?
what if I want a pizza? I can't wait to see my Facebook targeted ads after this stream. They're always listening.
They're always listening. Come on, Joe.
Thank you, Smeg for Brain. I want store games back at my local Games Workshop. They were so much fun. At Leamington Spa. Like you've added.
Do you think they actually picked that up as well?
I hope so. That was a great time, but I feel like it's a time that passed because of political correctness and things that are socially acceptable. I remember early 2000s, 2005. I remember walking into a Games Workshop store and it'd have that weird, almost picnic table painting thing. It would be like a table, and then it'd have like the metal struts that came up from the side that had like the little rubber seats on. And there'd always be 10 goths sat there. There'd be like 4 people in the chairs painting, and there'd be people either side kneeling painting, and then the rest was eating McDonald's, just hanging out, playing, and then there'd be loads of games playing, and it was loads of fun, and it was great. But then I kind of feel like, because it was normally a lot of the staff's friends, but I think like with Games Workshop's push for more aggressive sales, those kind of people also push people out. So if you're a mum and you've got a little kid and you go into a shop and it's just full of really dirty goths eating McDonald's and just being messy, you're like, oh, I don't want my child to hang around in here.
Did the goths touch you, Joe?
No.
Is that what happened?
I was one of those people. I wasn't a very good goth. I was part of the new metal era, so I had the big baggy blue trousers. I was like the Fred Durst, like the white t-shirt and red baseball cap.
I bet you were.
Yeah. And then I grew my hair really long as well and wore a beanie all the time. I became more of a surfer
I
type.
feel like we as a general audience need more photos from Joe's past.
Yeah?
I feel like we need to do an episode which is a deep dive into young Joe.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe don't title it that.
I was really healthy when I was younger as well.
What changed, Joe?
Oh, I stopped riding my bike. I got a driver's license. That's where it stopped. Because I lived in deepest, darkest Exmoor, and I figured out that an 18-mile bike ride from my village of Exford to Minehead was faster than getting the school bus in the morning, because it was an hour and a half school bus ride that went to all the villages. So I was really healthy because I was just cycling everywhere all the time. I was like a cyclist metalhead.
So we should be getting you to cycle to the studio.
I'd literally die.
You'd have to build up to it.
I get out of breath walking up the stairs. Right, there is a level of cold in that hallway that does not exist anywhere else on Earth.
The Adventures of Young Joe is, yeah.
Anyone that comes into this building, literally, because the cold sucks the air out of your body.
The Adventures of Yo Young is a significantly more acceptable title than deep diving into Young Joe.
Yeah.
Anyway,
he cited Fred Durst.
Run away.
But no, yeah, I think like after a while, I started working for Games Workshop. Like what was the last proper edition of Warhammer Fantasy? 8th. I kind of feel like that's where, like, after that, the change to AOS, and obviously there was a big change in 40k as well around the same time. Like, that's when like shop games really dissolved, didn't they? They went from having big 6x4 tables in the shops, and it all became, you could play on that 2x4 section kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like, they kind of really went from a gaming hobby atmosphere to a shop atmosphere. I feel like that was a change within Games Workshop head office. Because that's when the dark times of Games Workshop were really pushing, because that's where the start collecting boxes first came from. Like, that was the best thing to come from the dark time, was to start collecting boxes, because buying armies became really efficient. But when you walked into a Games Workshop store, staff literally jumped down your throat. What are you buying? What are you buying? Buy stuff, buy stuff,
Yeah,
paint,
so
paint, buy stuff, upsell.
I've definitely kind of had two very different experiences depending on the stores. I've had stores where I go into, really chill, staff are really friendly, staff are really helpful, and they're actually really helpful. I've had the other experience where it's upsell everything I possibly can. What do you mean you want this one character for £22? Actually, what you really want is this £300 box set. Like, that I've definitely had two varying experiences depending on the stores I've gone into.
I remember when I worked in the Salisbury store, a guy came in to buy his brother a box of Grey Knights for his birthday, and I upsold him to an Imperial Knight. Because I was like, how much do you love your brother? Like, has he got Grey Knights? And he was like, yeah, he's got loads. And I was like, so he's probably got these already? And he was like, yeah. I was like, so he could have more. I was like, how much do you love your brother? How long have you existed together? And he was like, what are you getting at? I was like, he would probably really love you if you got him this.
Joe was part of the problem, chat.
He bought an Imperial Knight.
Joe was part of the problem.
And he bought the Grey Knights.
Thumbs down for Joe.
But I was also one of those people that were like, more often not, like the mums and the aunts and the nans and the family members of people that gamed would come into, because I'd be like, have you got a list? And they showed me the list, and then I'd help them get the stuff. Because they were like, those other salesmen are very aggressive. I was more of a subtle seller.
Sizzle Joe. Cool.
Not where that name comes from.
He was part of the problem. Anywho, on that bombshell.
On that bombshell, thank you, Rosso Nero, for 10 gifted memberships. Thank you, Kev Thacker, for 1 gifted membership. You could go wrong with that one. Thank you, Tay B, for 1 gifted membership. And thank you, Sir Galahad Grail Hunter, for 1 gifted membership.
That gets us to 62 members on a Liam and Joe show. That's good, isn't it?
How do you know?
Because I can see
Oh,
right
it says
there,
over
where it
there.
says 62, Joe. I've got numbers everywhere. I have multiple screens and I'm monitoring everything.
All the time. You're like that guy from The Matrix.
Yeah, I can monitor it from home tonight whilst you're streaming as well. I can see what's going on. Because I'm not involved tonight, chat. So thank you for joining us on this.
I like that statement from Chris Joss.
What?
Joe is like alcohol. He's never the problem, always the solution.
Thank you for joining us on today's episode. I hope you guys have enjoyed this particular stream. I genuinely do absolutely believe that on the whole, the internet is the problem at the moment. I feel like there is a wave of negativity existing.
You do know we do all of our business on the internet.
100%. Okay. Let me finish. I 100% think that the internet has this wave of negativity at the moment about Games Workshop, about 40k in general. And since the launch of 10th edition here on the channel, we have tried to approach the game from a different way. And we've tried to enjoy it, have fun, mess around, keep the Garage Hammer vibe. Yeah. And I think kind of more represent the type of games that most people have in their gaming groups and with their friends. I'm hoping that we start to bleed that content out into some of the talking head stuff as well. One of the things I want to do and want to be more cognizant of and be more aware of is putting across a balanced argument. If I am going to say I don't think they've done this very well or I think this is bad, I want to offer both sides of the argument.
Yeah.
And I want to try and get that message out there, chat, that as a channel, we don't just bash Games Workshop. I don't understand the people that do that. Some people just bash them for the sake of bashing them. I don't want to be...
I don't understand channels where their whole ethos is attacking Games Workshop.
Or nothing but pure clickbait as well. And I don't want to continuously post clickbait all the time because it gets tiring and it's boring. Bit. So let's share this. I said this to guys last night on the stream. The more people that you guys get to bring in, the more we can all celebrate this wonderful hobby together and create what is essentially, on the whole at least, a pretty positive environment and a pretty positive atmosphere around this hobby that we love. Because at the moment, if we think about the fact that Games Workshop, Warhammer 40k specifically, is multifaceted. You have the lore, you have the hobbying in terms of building, you have the hobbying in terms of painting, the hobbying in terms of converting, and you have the gaming, right? There's 5 different aspects at minimum for the hobby at least. And if one of them is bad, let's say even if the game is bad, which it clearly isn't because it's got record players, but let's say the game is bad right now, that's still 4 aspects of the hobby that are good and fun, right? So even if one aspect is down, that doesn't mean that everything's terrible and the world's falling out of its arse and Games Workshop are the devil incarnate. Sometimes they even hold their hands up and said, we haven't got it right, you know? And they're prepared nowadays at least to make some changes. I would like to start spreading a little more positivity in a world that's full of grim dark, it sounds cliche, in a world that's literally full of grim darkness all the time if you turn the news on, innit? So,
yeah.
I hope you guys have enjoyed the episode. If you have, please make sure you smash that like button. We had over 300 people watching today. We're still only at 230 likes. For those of you that smashed that like button, thank you so much. For everybody who gifted memberships, you people are amazing. If you got gifted a membership, !Discord, come and get yourself in the Great Hall Discord server. You're incredible. And for everyone in your colourful postcards, thank you for interacting and thank you for donating to the channel and also getting your point across. It's really interesting to hear so many people's points of views, genuinely. Tonight at 7:30, we're back live. Now, Joe, because you spent so long talking, you specifically, in 4 hours, we're back live with a live game of 40k. It's Custodes, piloted by Mr. the Brom, versus Tyranids?
Yeah, I'm going to run the stealthy ones.
Tyranids.
Yeah.
So it's Custodes versus Tyranids tonight. Mr. the Kyle will be your Master of Ceremonies, who's going to be hosting on the deck. I'm going home early-ish, actually, because... basically because I'm driving up to Birmingham to see a friend in the morning tomorrow, and it's a 6 a.m. start for me. And if I'm playing Brom tonight, I'm not going to get home till 2:30. So I didn't want 3 hours sleep before getting up to go and get tattooed for a day. So I'm going to be going home early. So it's down to these 3 lunatics to run the stream, and I will be keeping an eye on the numbers, Joe, to see whether it performs or not.
Tyranids are quite popular, aren't they?
Performance-related pay is what we're going to introduce here, I reckon, in the future.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I'll do amazing.
You guys have been incredible. Thank you for hanging out. If you've got anything else to say, please make sure you drop it in the comment section below. You could also, I should say, you can also super thanks. There you go, Joe. I've said it. You can't tell me off. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one.
Bye. Have a wonderful time.